There are so many different meditation methods and schools. How do you choose, like who to follow, what to learn? In this video, I'm going to share with you my own journey over the last 20 years. And this is not to say that this is the right way, but it's just one way and it's my way. And in the hope that it can help you and give you some inspirations for how to move through your own journey. And then I'm also going to share with you this particular place that I went to for the meditation retreat this time, why I went there, what is it like. And then at the end, I will also share with you the lessons that we learned on day 2 of the 9-day meditation retreat. So first of all, I started my meditation practice about 20 years ago. Why did I start? Well, I was in a place where on the outside, I was living a perfect life. But inside, I was very unhappy. I don't know why I was unhappy. And so I got into this very deep exploration stage. And part of that was starting meditation. I didn't want to follow anybody in particular. What I did was I went to the library. I just started picking up books from the shelves. And over the last 20 years, I have learned from many different teachers. And what I got out of that process is that through the different experiences, I'm able to start discern the information that I receive and then figure out what really works for me. So if you're someone who's starting the meditation practice and you're saying, well, but I don't know who to follow. It doesn't matter. Just follow somebody, follow one practice and see how that works for you. And if it works well, great. And even if it works well, you can still try something else. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then try something else. And with my own meditation practice, even though I started 20 years ago, overall, it had been on and off. So there would be periods of time where I consistently meditate and then I would drop it. And then, after a while, then I pick it up. So about 3 years ago, I was off my practice for quite a few years. And there was desire in my head that I want to get back to the meditation practice, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it on my own. I tried to sit there. I couldn't sit for 2 minutes. And so then I had this thought in my mind. I said, okay, well, maybe I should go to a meditation retreat as a way to help me get back into the practice. So again, this is another just tip to help you to say that if you've tried on your own and if you can't seem to stick with it, go to a specific retreat, sign up a specific lesson, follow a specific teacher. Don't try to do everything on your own. I mean, you can start doing that, but at some point you do need some teacher. Okay. And so that was where I was. I decided that I really need some extra help. So I decided I want to go to a meditation retreat. And I started looking. And then I remember there's this place in south of France that I knew about many years ago, but I never got around going there. And so I thought this would be the perfect time for me to try to go to that place. And it's called Le Rablin. And it's in south of France. It's about 1 hour away from Montpellier. And I signed up and I went. Right? And at the time when I signed up, I didn't know it was a silent meditation retreat. Just the thought of doing 9 days of meditation was overwhelming enough for me because remember at the time, I couldn't even sit for 2 minutes. So signing up for a 9-day retreat was a stretch for me already. And at the time, I didn't know it was a silent one. But anyway, I signed up and I went. And I remember a couple of days before the retreat, I received a email information that gives you more details about arrivals and all of that. And in that email, there was a message that says, this is a reminder that to respect the silence during this retreat. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't know that this was a silent meditation retreat. And if I knew, I definitely would not have signed up for a 9-day silent meditation retreat. As someone who loves to talk, I can't even imagine not talking for a day or 2 or 3, never mind 9 days. In any case, I already signed up. At that point, I was already in Paris. So I was like, I'm just going to go, right? I'm not going to give up. And so I went. And I would tell you, the whole experience, it was so good that at the end, the retreat, at the end of 9 days, I did not want to leave. I wanted to stay. I could definitely stay for another week of silence. So I'm sharing this story because I want to let you know that so often we have these limiting beliefs in our mind simply because it's not something we have done before. And we allow these limitations or limiting beliefs stop us from doing greater things. Like I said, if I knew at the time when I signed up that it was silent, I would have talked myself out of it to say, there's no way you could do this right now. But I did. I went, and what was on the other side of the unknown was so beautiful. And this, again, go back to what I always say in my coaching with my clients, is that allow the unknown to unfold, because the magic happens in the unknown. Think about it. If you do things in the known space, then of course there's no magic, because you have already done it. You already know everything. There's nothing new. So if you want something new, if you want to have a real breakthrough, you have to be willing to step into the unknown. And what's on the other side? Oh my goodness. It's beyond what you can imagine today. So that was my experience the first time around. It was complete silence, except the first 3 days. In the morning we had lectures, but the rest of the time it was complete silence. And it really trained me to calm my mind, to calm myself down. And what changed that it did for me was after the retreat, I noticed in the past 3 years, I have changed in how I show up in life. I talk much slower. I do things a lot slower. Whereas in the past, I was more like, it's like I had always been this Energizer bunny, right? So it's always go, 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 do. I talk fast. But then more and more over time, I realized I'm slowing down just as a rhythm in my life. Everything is slowing down. And so I have so much more peace and calm in my life. And, that's really what the biggest change in my life is, how I feel about the way that I'm living my life. And, there's no price tag to that, right? It doesn't sound like a big ticket item, but think about it. Think about how you walk around your day-to-day life and your feelings about it. And if you can feel at a place where you're at peace, it's priceless. Okay, so that is my experience. And again, at the Lurhabling, it is a Tibetan Buddhist monastery. But for the retreats that I went to, it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a Buddhist. I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist, or I'm not a Buddhist, and it's open to everybody. And their teachings, it is from a Buddhist perspective. But again, you can apply it in your own life. You don't have to follow the Buddhist tradition. And I'm going to share some of those as we go on, as I share more of the content in the future videos. But so this was such a great experience for me 3 years ago that I decided to come back again this time. And this time it was part silent and part speaking, which was a very different experience, because I actually find that psychologically my mind was kind of switching. It's like, oh, right now I can't talk. And then it's like, oh, now I can talk. Oh, I can't talk and I can talk. And so I actually prefer the all silence, to be honest. But it is what it is. And it was just a different experience. Okay. Now, let me share what we learned on day 2 of this retreat. They started the day by sharing that there are 2 aspects of the mind, because we talked about, the whole purpose for meditation is about, taming our mind, right? Is to quiet down, to have stability. So now on day 2, we started to explore, what is that mind? What is that all about? So they talked about there are 2 aspects of the mind. The first aspect is the appearance of the mind. And the appearances of the mind are things like you get through like sensations, your perceptions, your thoughts. Basically everything that arises in your head, in your mind, as you going through your meditation. So those are all the appearances of the mind. And then the other aspect of the mind is the essence of the mind. So what is the essence of the mind? It is about pure bliss, pure joy, pure freedom. Everything is perfect as is. All right, so those are the 2 distinctions. And they shared a very, very helpful analogy that I am now carrying with me in my head all the time now. And that is, they say, well, think of the sky. When you look up in the sky, you see clouds, right? But clouds have forms. They move, they go, they come and they go, right? And they change forms. And the clouds are the appearances of the mind. But behind the clouds, that pure blue sky is the essence of the mind. So think about that. I love that analogy because I thought it was so good just to help me understand and making that distinction between the appearance of the mind and the essence of the mind. And so the appearances of the mind are things that it's impermanent, it changes, it come and go. And So now we understand that. So the goal during meditation, and also just in life, is to let go of the clouds, so that what you're connecting to, what you're having, is a pure blue sky. All right. And then the other thing they talked about is that the goal for meditation is to find the essence of the mind. One of the stories or the analogies that one of the master teachers talked about was, he said, for most of us living our modern day life, we are everywhere, but we are never home. So what does that mean? Well, we're everywhere because in our mind, we are living our life through the appearances of the mind. So through our perception, through our sensations, we create, and through those, we create stories, right? So we're all over the place, but we're never home. And the home is the essence of the mind, where there is just pure bliss, pure joy, pure freedom. And then we learn about emotions, because during meditation, thoughts will come up, because we can't not have thoughts, right? And as we have thoughts, we can also have emotions that come up from those thoughts. And so the goal during the meditation is not to intellectualize or to analyze those emotions. It's just to let it be, is to learn to allow the emotions to stay that way and just allow it to be. Not to criticize it, not to judge it, not to alter it, just let it be. And so the idea is to not to get rid of the thoughts or get rid of those emotions. It is more about changing your relationship to those thoughts, your relationship to those emotions. Are you identifying yourself with those thoughts, with those emotions? Or we can allow those thoughts and emotions to just be there. And when we don't get engaged with those thoughts and emotions, and that's how we can start letting go of the stories. Another lesson that I learned was that, the teacher said, we can't solve problems at the level of our stories. You see, all these thoughts and emotions that come up, when we identify with them, then we start creating stories. And if we try to solve problems through those stories, we're never really getting to the essence of what life has to offer. So the first question for you is, how is your current meditation practice? How are you dealing with the thoughts that come up? Do you try to suppress it, or do you allow it to be? And then also take notice with those thoughts. Do you often have emotions that come up? Or are you able to say, oh, I just have now this awareness of this thought. Maybe I let it go. And so play with that a little bit. And, the next time when you sit down and do meditation, just see if you have the awareness of your thoughts come up and if you can just let it go. And same thing with emotions. If emotions that come up, are you allowing the emotions to just stay there, or are you getting more wrapped into it? Okay, you're getting more sucked in, getting more triggered by it. And then that then become the cause for, oh, I can't sit here anymore because I'm too busy, I'm too right? Or I'm too mad, or I'm too whatever, right? So again, the first question for you is observe how your current meditation, practice is. And then the second thing is really about learning to work with our emotions. I know with women in midlife, especially when we're talking about money, there are so many different emotions that come up for us when we talk about money. It's the emotions of embarrassment, emotion of shame, emotions of anxiety, and then emotions of overwhelm. You name it. There are so many around money, or the subject of money. And going forward, after listening to this video, the next time that those emotions come up, can you have the awareness to see that, oh, those emotions are up. And then now I'm just going to hold that in the place. I'm not going to add any more thoughts to it. I'm not going to add any stories to it. I'm only just going to feel it. All right. So those are the two practices that you can have for today. And again, I would love to hear your feedback on what your practice is like and what questions that you may have. This whole meditation and the how to work with emotions and thoughts, it seems really kind of vague, and it is something that you really learn through practice. There's not enough. You can't really learn it through reading a book. You really have to just learn it through practice. And when you practice, know that it can take time. There are times where I, practice for a month and still feel like my mind is still all over the place and my thoughts and, just like a monkey mind. But when that happens, again, no judgment. Allow it to happen and keep doing it. That's the key, right? There is no judgment to anything that you're going through right now. So if you're still having monkey thoughts, let it be, but keep practicing. All right, I hope that's helpful. And then if you missed the first video about this series, you can watch it here.